I hope everybody had a great spring break. I know I did, nice and restful. So hopefully you are ready to learn all about Google Drawing. As I said, I'm Arlie Barton. I'm the math instructional coach let's try this camera again. There we go. For some reason it wasn't working. Sorry, guys. I'm the math instructional coach at Lyles Middle School. So hopefully we've made through Wednesday. I know we're getting closer to STAR for our 8th grade teachers and 5th grade teachers as well. So hopefully this will give you some interesting things that you can maybe do at the end of the year to make it interesting in your classroom, to make it more interactive. And if not, maybe it's something you could use over the summertime to kind of see how you could incorporate that into your classroom next year. Always good to have good ideas to kind of start off the year, make it interesting, engaging, something different for the students that they're not expecting. So let me switch over my screen, and I apologize for the weird effects. So we're going to share. And then I'll flip over to the presentation. All right, so as you know, as you've registered, this is Teaching is an Art, so learn to draw with Google. And then my moderator, who is there to answer any questions you might have, is Heather Shores. She is over at the Classical Center at Brandenburg. You can see our contact information at the end of this slide. If you ever have any questions or want to even follow us on Twitter, follow you back on Twitter, those are down there as well. All right, so let's kind of start with just the layout of a Google Draw. It is a canvas. It's just an electronic canvas. And I do want to put this one caveat out there, especially for my high school teachers. Google Draw is currently only on PCs or MacBooks or regular HP computers. It is not an iPad app currently. So I wanted just to make sure that everybody is aware before you get into this. You're like, oh, this is awesome. And you try to go take it to the app and you're disappointed. So I just want to put that little hashtag out there real quick. So if you can see on my left side here, I'm going to change to a pointer to make it easier to follow where I'm talking about, is you can change your sizes of your page if you want to make posters or if you want to make something interactive that your students are going to complete in class because you plan on posting it in Google Classroom. And in a few slides, I'm going to give you some wonderful free, love that word, resources that you're able to use. So you can always change the page setup. And then down at the bottom corner, to change the background, if you don't want it white, you have other options. You can change what the background looks like as well. Now, the toolbars. This is where things get fun, and it makes it easier to use these toolbars than if you were in like a Google Doc. Because when you open a Google Doc and you use drawing tools, it opens up a separate screen. So it makes it a little bit more complicated to try to align your shapes. Unlike if you were in a Word document, you're able to manipulate them, move them around. So a lot of times using Google Draw to create images is easier and user-friendly. So you have some of the exact same toolbars that you have up here that you would see in your Google document and also even in Word. So we have different types of line options. And then you have all your different types of shapes, arrows, equations, even for my math people out there. I know they're finally coming around to get those math symbols out there to make our life easier. And that way we can incorporate these wonderful technology tools in our math classrooms. Now for some examples. All of these are links that are going to take us to different websites, but I think they're really important to see what type of resources are already out there for you. So that way you do not feel like you have to create the brand new wheel. Like, let's go back and let's see what's already out there and make tweaks to make it a little bit easier for us. So some interactive activities. So here's an example of an interactive activity. This happens to be for social studies. Once this finishes loading, you can see over here to the left that it says view only. So what you can do is you can always come over to file and make a copy. And what that does is it now becomes part of your drive and you can now edit it to make changes to it. So that way you can assign it to your students through Google Classroom. And since this is view only, I can't manipulate it, but I will make a copy so you can see exactly how interactive it truly is. We'll just put that in my drive for right now. So it opens up a new tab, and now this is editable. So You can use the name tags. Sorry, I have to wait for the Wi-Fi. I'm faster than it. See if this will work again. We'll see. If not. So you can go through and you see the directions of using your Google Draw toolbar. There we go. So I have my blue lines. And they want you to have the equator as red. As you can see, they've already done that as an example. I can click that line. I can make it red. I'm not even going to try to answer some of these and embarrass myself because I don't remember social studies terms just exactly, but I do know where my equator is. And I can, you have a text box that you can drag and have your students drag, and you can label this. And if this is an assignment through Google Classroom, then they can, once they have completed it, turn it in. And it's something real simple. It's engaging. It's different. It just adds a different element into your classroom rather than have a paper, pencil. It's getting those 21st century skills intact for these students to get them ready to use these skills. So that's an example of how you can make, through Google Drawing, an interactive activity. Let me go back to do another link, kind of saving the best for last. Customized graphics. And if you notice, these are all view only. So you would have to make a copy to make it editable and to tweak it. But what if you want to make a book commercial or you want to make a poster for your students to incentivize them? Doing that in Google Draw gives you that option. So you have this, here's an example of that. You have so many options of images that you can put in. You have the text box, the fonts. You can download different fonts through Google. All of that stuff is available in the toolbar, which makes it an easy, user-friendly program that all the students can pick up very quickly, and they can collaborate together. It doesn't always have to be an individual activity. So here's how you do custom graphics, book commercials, posters. If you're trying to do a summary or imagery, all different types of ideas and concepts can easily lay into a graphic just to, heighten and deepen that understanding of any concept. Pop over here for infographics. They're comparing and contrasting, Google Slides versus Google Drawings. So you have the different canvases for Google Slides. And so this makes another poster. It's another idea for a great poster. So these resources are out there that are available to you. And I know graphic organizers is a really huge thing going around. When we had thinking maps training, a few years back in the district, and a lot of people wanted to bring that into an electronic form of doing that. So I saved that one for last because it's pretty awesome. So here's an example of a graphic organizer for the water cycle, my science people. And you can see the instructions that has been included. Once again, this is another one that says view only, so you would have to make a copy so you can tweak it. And even to use it for your own students, you would still have to make a copy because they can't manipulate it either. And it has add images. So they're able to insert those images once you make it editable for them. Here's what makes this even better. Up here is a link to Matt Miller. If you are not familiar with Matt Miller, he has a phenomenal blog that you can get his posts as soon as he posts on his blog. He's also the author of Ditch That Textbook. And he may even have a new book out called Ditch That Homework. So his ideas are just great. So I want to take you to his website super fast so you can see what type of free, we see that wonderful word in all caps right there, what free resources and graphic organizers are already created. Let's scroll down here. So you have Venn diagrams, KWL charts, timelines, evaluation, cause and effect. You have the Fishbone Planner, which is advantages and disadvantages, word webs, flow charts, tons of activities. Cornell note-taking, if you're an avid campus. Let's just open that up real quick. So we're going to make a copy because he doesn't want this stuff editable, which is understandable. So here is an example in Google Drawing itself of insert your title, Cornell notes, and you can tweak it if you don't like this format, but there's no reason why. Now that it's in and I've made a copy of it, I can go through and I can tweak it however I want it to. My instructions, what I want the students to. And so now I have the ability, if I want to insert images, I have that option up here. an image, if I have something already in my drive, if I want to look at photos, search the web. So Google Draw is basically a Google Doc, but better. I'm not even going to lie. It's better. It just gives you, it's user-friendly when you want to insert images, especially. I'll go back over to Matt Miller real quick, just so you can see some other examples that he has. Vocabulary, vocabulary, vocabulary. Let's just be honest, that's huge in our classrooms. So there's that website. For Ditch That Textbook, you can see that's his book right there. You can subscribe to his blog. So I'll do a free plug. Sorry, this isn't advertising. But he has phenomenal resources on his website. So those are some examples that are already out there for you. Make sure I didn't skip. I felt like I skipped something. So gamification and badges. I did this when I was in the classroom. I became familiar with Alice Keeler, who has a blog as well, and I'll take you to her website in just a moment. And she has a couple books out there for Google Classroom and what activities to get started with Google Classroom. She even has a book out there for math and Google Classroom combination. But I came across how to create student badges. And these are a couple badges that I actually created with her instructions for my science classroom. We had a debate one year. So the students that just understood debating and by their classmates, we got a great debate badge. To Infinity and Beyond was our space unit. And so that was the badge that I created here. This is my page as the teacher page. I had the code which you gave your students. I had the badge title that they saw. In the description, here's the link once you create it in your Google drawing and what it looks like. You would create a Google Sheet that you have access to all students through Google Classroom. When they earned the badge, I gave them a little certificate. It was like, congratulations, you earned this badge. Here's your badge code. They would open up their Google Sheet, type in that code, and then they can see this image would pop up right there so they could see what badges they had earned. So you're probably thinking, that's awesome. How do I create it? That's what I'm going to show you right down here. At Alice Keeler is her Twitter handle. So I linked her website to the exact specific page, but she has tons of posts. It's alicekeeler.com is her website if you want to search anything, but this is specifically for her badge making. So it goes through and it shows you, and she has phenomenal directions. They're step-by-step. They're just fantastic. How you create the badge list for you. This is for the teacher right here. And then how to create the badge. It walks you through how to do your page setup. Let me go back. I didn't mean to click that image. And this is where we talked about how you can make it an 8.5 by 11. For her, you have to make it custom. And then it's 100 by 100 pixels. And then you just kind of create the different types, however you want it to look. And then you have to publish it to the web. And that's where you get your link that you put into your spreadsheet. So you copy that link, and then it tells you how to do your image, badge list. And like I said, it's super step-by-step. This may look funky crazy, but I promise you guys, it's so easy. And so this whole walks you step-by-step, and then from there, you just rinse and repeat to create each and every one of your badges. So I did mine by unit, and then any extra ones, I had a Google challenge, so they had a Google Guru badge. We had, at the beginning of the year was kind of, I did a communication day where they learned how to collaborate. So there's just different badges throughout the year that they were able to use. As we learned new technology, they got to use it to learn a badge for technology as well. So that's another option that's out there for you. And so if this is something and you need that link, alicekeeler.com, you can always just say creating badges. You can Google it as well. Email me. I'll send you the link. One other thing that I had my students use is when we did green screen videos in science, we used Google Draw to create the green screen. I showed them how to save that image from green screen, and then they sent it to me. So they did a newscast. I think it's when we did weathering, erosion, and deposition. We had a breaking news. I have two of my students right here doing their news report, and that's just the green screen image that they came for. They put a science table and some chairs, and it looked like they're in the newsroom. And then I think when we were playing around with the green screen app, I think I had some boys do a whole entire report over Minecraft. So that's how I had that background. I've had students do book reports, and they had the book in the back and the background. When they had the whole bunch of flooding, there was like a weather report. So different ideas. I couldn't find my favorite, which looked like I had students kind of sitting in a fire because they were doing a report over thermal energy. And so they had that as their background as they were sitting down talking about thermal energy. For this, I always had the students write a script and then share that with me. And we practice how to find appropriate pictures through their searching, how what is the process to save it and re-upload it. So there's a lot of technology skills involved when using Google Draw, but the possibilities are limitless, and students love to be creative, and this is the perfect application for them to be able to use to let them explore that creativity. So some tips and tricks. For Google Drawings. Some shortcuts to duplicate, Control-D, for pasting. And of course, sometimes when we overlay objects, one will go in front of the other one. So if we need to change that, you have that option for Control-Option-G. Creating shapes. You can hold down the Shift key for the proportions. So for the lines. So this is just, just little tricks to kind of help you get more accustomed to it. And the best thing to do that is just go in and play around with it. See what's available. See what you can do, what you can make. Making mistakes only helps us learn. The same thing with the students. Sometimes they may figure something out. You're like, oh, well, show me how you do that. So you're able to go through and you can arrange them, change them. But this Canvas is so much, I'm going to say it again over and over again. It's just user-friendly compared to trying to import an image into your Google Doc. And so this can be used like a Google Doc. It's just will be easy for the students to manipulate it. Your format options. So lots of awesome tricks for you to be able to use. Last but not least, some resources, because we all know we like to have the wheels already going for us, have somebody's already started it. We can always tweak it if it's not really fitting our style, but at least it's already there for us. So some free photo sites, clip art, emojis. And please remember, when you do have your students, if they are using these free sites, that they still need to cite their sources. Even if it is free, they still have to cite their sources of where they were able to receive or get these sources. Any images, any emojis. Here's some color palettes. So just, lots of options that are out there for you. And I'm going to pick one thing on Google Drawing that you think is the most interesting. If it's badges, if it's backgrounds, if it's graphic organizers, just pick one and work with that until you get comfortable, and then add one more to your toolbox. I know this is a lot, but the best thing is just to choose one that would be most applicable in your classroom. And I'm going to go back to that slide that had these links. So pick one that's the most applicable to your classroom, that you would get your most bang for your buck, that you're comfortable with, and get familiar with it. Show your students with it. And then from there, you can include your add-on to your toolbar. And that's the best thing. Let your students explore with it, and they can maybe even show you something. So hopefully, I'll go back to our contact information. If you need to get a hold of myself, there's my email address, or Heather Shores, there's her email address. Hopefully, we've given you some food for thought on how Google Draw can apply to your classroom. Another tool in our toolbox, because we know as teachers, we always need to improvise and grow and change and move. And there's always other resources out there to strengthen our teaching practice. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email me, tweet me, and let me know how I can help. And I thank you for listening in our presentation.